action from around the NBA this weekend. Some good games, too. Let's start with vroom, vroom. Yeah, the motorcade rolled through Orlando. The Pistons reached 45 wins for the first time since 07-08. They snapped a 17-season streak without 45 or more wins. Tim, do you have hotels booked in Detroit?
I do have hotels booked in Detroit. They are, cancelable. But listen, man, when a team goes 4 of 30 from three-point range and wins by double figures, woo, they're a rough and tumble bunch that is a real threat.
Well, don't cancel those yet because they're looking pretty good. Cleveland, this is for you. James Harden, he scored 22 points in his return to the lineup. He had that broken thumb, and the Cavaliers, they snapped a 2-game skid with a win over the Nets. Mr. Windhorst, what's the ceiling for Cavs Corner?
Well, James Harden had 12 free throws in this game, which is something that, he hasn't been getting a lot of free throws, but to me it showed that he's not afraid of contact on that hand. So that was a good sign, and he led a pretty strong second half for them. Also, shout out to Danny Wolf, the rookie for the Nets, had 23 points and 9 rebounds. His best game this season.
I don't know that you answered the question, but I do appreciate the shout out. Off to Atlanta, not for Magic City night, but for Jonathan Kuminga. Had another 20-point game. The Hawks overpowered Portland on the way to their 4th straight win. I'll go back to you, Brian. How would you describe the impact Kuminga is having in Atlanta?
Well, especially because Jalen Johnson is back, and he and Jalen Johnson both played extraordinarily well in this game. And look, he can get out on the floor. His athleticism obviously sticks out, and I'm sure he's loving every second of this, and certainly the Hawks are as well. They're on a winning streak. Well,
don't look now. The MVP, he's back for OKC, and Shea had himself a weekend. We like to call him Shea Butter. He's that smooth, and this was a smooth, seamless transition back to action on Friday. He dropped 36 points in OKC's overtime win against the Nuggets after missing 9 games with that abdominal strain. And then on Sunday, he lit up the Mavs. He had 30 points. He extended his overall streak of 20-point games to a cool 123 and could tie Wilt Chamberlain's NBA record of 126 on Saturday against the Warriors. Now, the 30 he had in OKC's win over the Mavs, you see right here where that streak puts it. In the process, the reigning MVP, he passed Wilt for the most consecutive 20-point road games in NBA history. So as OKC's fighting to stay at the top of the Western Conference, the Wolves are clawing their way back in. They were 0-3 against the Nuggets this season, but I sense a change in the weather at altitude. Picking this up in the second quarter here. Edwards gets the pass, buries the 3. The Timberwolves up 45-38. And then under 5 seconds left, the Timberwolves lead. Edwards lays it in, beats the clock, going up by 8 at the half in the third quarter. Let's get some Jokic action. Hits that wide open 3. He's trying to will the Nuggets back in this one. And then a minute to go in the quarter. Nuggets down 9. There's Jokic once again, backing down Naz Reid this time. Crazy. Scored or assisted on 23 of their 32 points for the Denver Nuggets in the quarter. Jamal Murray drives, puts it on Rudy Gobert. Yeesh. What a slam there from Murray. Putting the former Defensive Player of the Year on a poster. The Nuggets down by 10 at this point. Yep, there it is. Picture perfect. Just over 6 minutes to play. The Timberwolves up 106-96 now when we go ahead here. Edwards pulls up. Yeah, this will ice the game right there. Ant feeling it. He finished with 21 points. The Wolves go on to win 117-108. Here's Ant with Katie George after the game.
The last 2 seasons, you guys have been to the Western Conference Finals as a 3 and a 6 seed. How important is it being a top 4 seed to you guys?
Super important, man. We don't want to be in a play-in because we want the week of work, of training and watching film and development, and we want home court advantage. I mean, I don't think we had home court advantage. We did my first time going to the Western Conference Finals versus Phoenix, but we want it again.
Well, best of luck in doing so.
Thank you.
The Wolves have won 11 of their last 15 games, right? That's tied for the 6th best record in the NBA in that span. That includes some pretty good wins. They've gotten the Thunder, they've gotten the Nuggets, and yeah, they weren't fully healthy, but you got to beat who's in front of you. So, Brian, what makes this Timberwolves team so dangerous?
Yeah, I think if you look at some of the teams that I would say are in the middle of the West, basically outside of San Antonio and Oklahoma City, all of those teams have some flaws. You look at Houston, they're not a strong offensive team. You look at Denver, they've been weak defensively. The Lakers, weak defensively. The Wolves, They are strong at both ends of the court, and that's really their case for why they can get back to the conference finals, is because they can do it at both ends. They also have a closer in Ant Edwards, and for whatever people want to say about Rudy Gobert, and they dunk on him, and he gets suspended for flagrant fouls, and he says stuff that upsets his teammates, the data is unequivocal. They are a very good defensive team when he's out there, and when he's out there, the Timberwolves are hard to deal with on that end of the court, and that is a big reason why you can believe they can make a run.
I think they've also got their spirit back. I mean, this is a team that's been in the conference finals 2 years in a row.
Right.
And after the trade deadline, it took a little while for some guys whose names have been in trade discussions for Giannis and some of the other things they were trying to do to maybe get their feeling back and feeling loved again. But they look like they've righted the ship. And I've heard from people that give Ant Edwards a lot of credit for that, because he is a leader in that locker room as well.
Sort of bringing everybody together in that way. And that's a step that we've been talking about, wanting to see Ant continue to take and evolve. And we're seeing that now. But the bar, as you mentioned, Ramona, is they've gone to back-to-back conference finals. And so it's getting past that point. That's where Denver's trying to get back to, right? They've lost 8 of their last 12 games, and they're not healthy. And they're running out of time to get healthy, Tim. What's your level of concern there?
Yeah, I think there has to be some real concern. You saw Joker yesterday talking about, some worry might help, might get guys to lock in, might get guys to play harder, but the health is a thing. If the Nuggets can get healthy, everybody expects them to be a contender. Aaron Gordon is ramping up to return soon. Same with Peyton Watson. They are going to be especially careful with Gordon, though, because these soft tissue injuries have been a recurring issue over the last 2 seasons, especially the hamstring. We saw it in the playoffs, saw it twice. Those guys can solve a lot of problems. They don't necessarily get Joker healthy, though. That's also a concern.
Yeah, Cam Johnson's been hurt, too. He had a knee thing, they had an ankle thing. He hasn't been playing very well. So I just think they're thin right now. But if they get those guys back, I don't have that level of concern for them. Every game I see them in, they seem like they're in it.
Well, but when I was talking to David Adelman, Brian, he told me that they want to get 15 games together. That's their ideal. And right now they're sitting at 10. And by the way, they're 8-2 in those games, but they are running out of time. If you're not concerned for them whole, there's concern that they're not going to get there, maybe.
Yeah, and now they've got Cam Johnson potentially missing some time with the ankle, as Ramona said. And he made an admission yesterday, David Adelman, that sort of illustrates where this team is. As you can imagine, with Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic, they try to play them together as much as they can because they're a killer duo on the court.
Absolutely.
They're going to have to change the rotation up a little bit and have one of them on the court basically at all times, according to Adelman, because the rest of the group is not carrying, and that is an indication of them leaning away from what they want to be. So this is a team that's fighting through it, but again, if they get their whole team together, I realize it's a big if, but they are very formidable at full health.
Yeah, it's interesting. Adelman also said that he hasn't shown the entire group until they got past the All-Star break their full record in the standings and where they stand, because he feels like he's coaching sort of a different group for this Nuggets team every night, and they have to get healthy in order for them to make it to their full potential. Since we're talking about health, we have a very special guest joining us in the studio. Pelican star Zion Williamson. You're not